A secret cabal has taken power, not only over the United States, but every corner of the world. They're pumping your brains full of all sorts of false information and using the media and all of the advertising to do it. Nope, we are not talking about another documentary this week. In fact, we're going all the way back to John Carpenter's 1988 classic, They Live, this week on the Everyman Movie Review. So as I've been doing for all these episodes recently, I hope you and yours are safe. Please stay home, stay inside, take care of yourself and each other in these trying times. It looks like for at least some of us in this country, we are on our way outdoors again. Whether or not that's a good idea remains to be seen. I'm thankful that I'm living in Hollywood, California, with some of the most liberal leaders and the ones who it looks like are going to be conservative when it comes to letting us go back to our lives as normal and figuring out what the new normal is. But wherever you are, please, when you go out of the house, wear a mask, wear gloves if you can, and try to minimize those trips. We have flattened the curve so much, but new predictions came out and the tolls are not looking good with the early opening. So do your part in making sure we all get through this together. This week we're going to be talking about a movie that I didn't think I'd be reviewing. It is nearly as old as I am, in fact 4 years younger than me, which makes it really old for most of the people viewing this video. And that is They Live from John Carpenter. It's a movie from 1988 starring someone you probably don't know unless, like me, you were into wrestling in the 90s, Rowdy Roddy Piper. There was a period in the late 80s where the WWF, as it was known then, had a bunch of star wrestlers, and they were all trying to branch out and do different things and get into different media. Hulkamania was taking the country, and Hulk Hogan was out in all sorts of things, movies and TV shows. Macho Man Randy Savage, I believe, was doing some guest starring roles as well. And Rowdy Roddy Piper wanted his chance to get on the silver screen as well. So he did. And he paired up with famed director John Carpenter to do it. Now that might be a familiar name to you. Hopefully it is. John Carpenter has done some amazing movies, usually all monster movies or horror movies. He's of course probably most well known from the Halloween franchise. He's also done a lot of Stephen King novels like The Fog and Christine. And of course, who can forget that classic 80s movie, Escape from New York, which more and more it seems is turning into a documentary, right? But let's go ahead and get the pleasantries out of the way, shall we? They Live was directed by John Carpenter. The screenplay was also written by John Carpenter, but under the pseudonym Frank Armitage, and it's based on the short story 8 O'Clock in the Morning by Ray Nelson. It's starring, of course, Rowdy Roddy Piper as Nada, Keith David as Frank, Meg Foster as Holly, perennial 80s, oh, that guy, Peter Jason as Gilbert, and some really cutting-edge special effects for the time. So even if you are not familiar with the movie They Live, you're familiar with the movie They Live. And here's why. It is the movie that popularized the posters that say, obey, and don't wake up, and consume, marry, and reproduce. And you've probably seen a figure of a politician-looking fellow standing in front of a sign that says obey, and he has a skeletonized face. Well, that is from They Live. Basically, the movie goes like this. Rowdy Roddy Piper moves from Denver to Los Angeles. He's looking for work. America in the 1980s is a dark place. There's depression everywhere. The rich keep getting richer, 39% last year alone. And the poor keep getting poorer. And he is just trying to make ends meet. He can't do that in Denver as a banker, so he moves all the way to Los Angeles on foot. When he's unable to get work at the local employment office, he just starts wandering around until he finds a construction site, where in kind of the stereotypical way, they describe the construction site as a union job. And we pan over to a bunch of guys standing around talking in construction wear, but nicer construction wear, and a few guys in the background actually doing work. So Nada asks to talk to the shop steward, and of course he gets a job, where he meets Frank, played by Keith David. And Keith David educates him on how Los Angeles works these days. He gives him a walk, I would say a lift, but it's more like I'm going to show you where to go, down to something called Justiceville, which is just a homeless encampment, although a nice one, in 4th Street in downtown Los Angeles. And this place doesn't actually exist, but it totally exists. It's not a real place, it's not really called Justiceville, but it's located in downtown Los Angeles, and you can find it if you look hard enough. Nada is introduced to a whole gang of characters, everyone who's just trying to scrap and save and get by. They're the everyman, just like you, the Everyman Movie reviewers. But Nada gets a sense that something else is afoot. He's not sure what it is, but he's going to get to the bottom of it. There's a choir across the street that practices until 4 in the morning. That doesn't make any sense. And he can't get paid except for once a week and in cash. What is going on with the world, and why is LA the way that it is? Well, after the church is raided by the police, well, I guess slightly before that, Nada finds that there is no church choir practicing. There is a record being played through speakers, and it is the meeting of some sort of underground organization. And their goal is to spread these special sunglasses out to everyone. Now, I said there in the opening that you definitely know what They Live is, even if you don't know what They Live is. And I love when I see moments in movies that have become gifs now and that, you share around in a different context. But if you've seen the one of Rowdy Roddy Piper, and if you don't know who that is, it's a dude with a mullet wearing a flannel shirt. And he's got these weird, real big sunglasses on, and he takes them down to his nose and then back up. You've probably seen that gif. That is from They Live. Because after the church is busted, Nada goes back in and grabs a box of those sunglasses because he figures whatever they're doing has got to be connected. And when he puts on the sunglasses, the real world is revealed to him. It's not a world of color, it's a world of black and white. And, I could really get into the intricacies of it being so opposite of The Wizard of Oz, where transferring into the land of Oz brought everything into Technicolor, where for Nada, putting those sunglasses on brings him to the real world, and it's black and white. And everywhere that you see advertisements and magazines and television shows, the truth is there now to be seen. Obey, marry and reproduce, stay asleep, don't ask questions, don't be woke. That's what we would say now anyway. And it just rocks Nada's world. Everything that he believed is true. More importantly, the truth is revealed about the people around him. Some of those people aren't people. They're extraterrestrial beings, and they basically look like humans, just skeletal faces with a little bit of muscle and not much else. Some of their eyes are glowing weirdly, none of them have lips. You've seen the memes, I'm sure. You know what I'm talking about. So Nada now makes it his personal vendetta to go out and stop these beings, and he starts the second act by going on a shooting spree, which is never really held to account for, and that is somewhat strange. But eventually he envelops himself in this underground movement, and they have figured out that in order to get everyone to wake up and see the truth, all they have to do is to interrupt this frequency that's embedded in every television station across the world. Because that frequency is what allows them to camouflage themselves and keeps everyone from seeing the truth. And there's one moment where Frank and Nada is insisting that he put the glasses on so that Frank can see the real world. And Frank says he's not going to do it. And there is maybe a 20-minute long fight scene where at the end of it, after it culminates no less than 3 times and then starts up again, Nada gets him on the ground, puts the glasses on his face, and drags him over. And they can both see the real world. And now Frank's mind is blown, and he's on board too. So now it's the two of them going along for this. And of course, there's a love interest. That would be Holly, played by Meg Forster. And Nada trusts her because when he has the glasses on, he sees a human face. It's only later that we realize that, much like any invasion, there are collaborators. And the collaborators have been made rich and famous for sticking along with the alien plan. Now, who the aliens are or what their purpose is kind of unclear. It's basically just, hey, they want to use our planet for resources, and once we're depleted, they'll move on to the next planet. How long they've been here, who knows? How they would have camouflaged themselves before electronics, who knows? But essentially, one of the characters says they treat our world like we treat the third world. Earth is the third world to them. And that is really a statement of kind of the beliefs of a lot of people about the third world back in the 1980s. Now, I won't give away the ending. If you want to watch it, watch it. It is, I think, very entertaining, but it has a lot of weaknesses. Number one, this is clearly just a motivator to get Rowdy Roddy Piper on the big screen in front of everyone. Why is there a 20-minute fight scene in the middle of it? Because Piper is not a great actor, or at least he wasn't then. And I can just imagine the frustration on shoot days when they had to break up his dialogue into memorizable sections for a guy who takes blows to the head on a regular basis. And you could just sense that it was like, all right, 15 words is our max. We give him 15 words, we get him saying it 3 or 4 different ways, we call it good, we move on to the next shot. Now, Keith David is a real actor. He's a professional actor. And in every scene he was in with Piper, he is carrying the brunt of the load. Except maybe that 20-minute fight scene, because then Piper's in his element, right? He's Rowdy Roddy Piper. He's a fighter. He knows how to pull punches and make it look good. And Keith David's kind of along for the ride. Anytime it took some acting, speaking, moving, other than a fight, that was Keith David carrying the whole load for the entire movie. And the same thing with Meg Foster. When she's in scenes with Piper, there's a lot of emotionality coming out of her and just nothing coming back from him. And so it's like he's in love with her, but you don't really know that he's in love with her until he says, "I'm in love with her." Like, there's nothing to precede that except for some like long shots with dramatic music in the background where you can see he's kind of falling for her. It happens very quickly and there's no reason for it. They initially meet because he kidnaps her. She then calls the police, throws him out a window, and for some reason, this is really attracted to him, and he's in love with her now. It's not a movie that makes a lot of sense, but it is a lot of entertainment. And I think that there is going to be room to remake They Live without the alien context. I think you could just make this with the consumerism and the push of like, why are people this way? And have a fine movie. So that's what I'm going to be looking for, is the remake that doesn't involve aliens, that just solves that the consumerism rotting people's souls. Maybe the sunglasses show you the truth. The ads are actually telling you this, and it's rotting away your soul. And the more you buy into it, the more rotted away you are. And we all know people, we follow people on Instagram, you do and I do, guilty as charged, who would just be those rotted skulls with empty eye sockets. And then there's people like me who would be mostly fleshy, but maybe with a little bone showing through. And then there's the really good people, like my dad, who doesn't know social media and would look perfectly normal and perfectly human. And he lived through the Depression. He doesn't really ask for anything, like new tie, new pajamas, that's birthday and Christmas. Without consumerism, he would continue to live his life as normal. He's a normal human with those sunglasses on. But, as we are kind of building into this, at the end of quarantine here, we've kind of hit the ropes, right? You hit the skids a little bit and you don't have anything to watch. Well, They Live is classic 1980s entertainment. It is an 80s movie through and through. Professional wrestler is the main star. Concept that's really great but doesn't really make a lot of sense. And a supporting cast carrying the load of a guy who thinks he's a bigger star than he is. It's got everything. Anything you could want, it's in there. It's entertaining, it's a sci-fi, it's a fight, and it's got a really good message, this whole anti-consumerism thing. So I highly recommend it. Now, if you're looking for a good movie or if you really want to be moved by something, this ain't it. There's nothing in here that super offends. Even for a 1980s movie, it is relatively calm, and it's not like, homophobic or racist. Like, there is a gay couple in it, and they are portrayed as just a loving couple. No, nothing is made of it. And I was really surprised. I thought when I saw the gay character come up, I'm like, oh, here's going to be the thing that ruins it for me, right? Nope. They are a couple. They live together. They know their neighbor. They're super nice. I mean, they're well dressed. I assume their house is well appointed. But otherwise, that's all we know about them. And I think one of the major messages going throughout is that class has way more to do with things than race. Frank is black, Nada is white, Nada is possibly white. I don't know what he's supposed to be with a name like Nada, but white and black and Asian and Native American and Latino characters are all working together to overthrow this universal bad guy. And I think that in that I found a lot of good things. It's a 1980s movie that was made and is clearly in the 1980s, but has a message I think that resounds and could still be good today, and therefore it's good entertainment for today, because there's nothing that you're gonna have to be like, oh, well, it was the times and everything is a little different now. I didn't see any of that in there upon this watching. So it's a movie that's safe. You're going to be able to find it live on streaming right now. I have saw it on Starz, but I do believe it's available elsewhere. If you want a link, just go down to the show notes down below. I'll have a link to it. But I enthusiastically will recommend it. Take a moment and go see They Live. If you just want to get out of your head and get a little entertainment and maybe get a little bit of a message in there too, this is the perfect movie for that. And before we step away here, I really just wanted to take a moment too, just to say, I hope this episode is at least equally as good as the past episodes. I have left some of my equipment at my old place, and now I have moved into a new place. And these are the first episodes that are being recorded with the equipment in my new space. So, if the audio is not fantastic, if the lights aren't perfect, if the background, maybe I'm not exactly in a movie theater, please forgive. It's going to get better and better as we go along. And also, quarantine has hit me for a doozy. I have finally had to resort to the hat. And I'm going to go ahead and take it off so you guys can see if you stuck around this long. The hair is getting out of control. I did trim my beard today, so looking perfectly normal there. Everything above the ear line is a mess. And I've never thought of barbers and beauticians as essential workers, but we should. They're absolutely essential, because I can't do this myself as much as I keep wanting to try. So, repeating the message from earlier, stay inside, stay home, take care of yourself and each other, please. Forgive anything for the next couple episodes while we find our groove, and then we are going to be back into it in a private space with the ease of recording, and maybe we'll even pump out more episodes than usual. So, all that being said, go check out They Live. Totally worth it on Starz and elsewhere on streaming today. Hey guys, I just wanted to break away real quick, just to let you know, you're about to see the outro that I pre-recorded. Obviously, it was recorded in a different place, and I look a little different. My hair was a little shorter, and I'm not wearing a hat. So don't let it throw you off. I didn't want to take the time to record yet another outro for these episodes when, in just a few weeks or less, I'm going to have a whole new setup, and hopefully I'll have a haircut, and I can make it a little more professional. So enjoy the rollout right now, and look for a new one in a few weeks. Thanks. So there you have it, yet another episode of the Everyman Movie Review in the books. Right at the top here, I want to say thank you, as I always do, to my patrons. I could not do this without you guys. Thank you so much for all the moral support, the messages that you send. When you see that you're watching the videos early, when I provide them early, you're watching all the crazy content that doesn't make it anywhere else. That's a huge thing for me. I know it makes me feel like I'm not wasting my time. Like there is a purpose behind everything that I'm doing. So thank you for all your support, including the monetary support. And if you want to be one of the chosen few who gets all of that behind the scenes material, all you have to do is go on over to patreon.com, that's patreon.com/Robert N. Cheek. For as little as $1 a month, you get entry level, you get most of the stuff just at that level. And then, of course, you can donate more and you get access to more and more stuff. I'm wrapping up my self-help book. Okay, I'm starting my self-help book. Everybody will be mentioned in the forward of that. It's all kinds of bonuses. You can find more details right there at patreon.com/Robert N. Cheek. And finally, my home on the web is taking shape. RobertNCheek.com has come back to life. It's only a few pages and it's a work in progress, but you'll be able to start getting information there. You can find links to the videos, links to the books, links to everything that I'm doing, music, for whatever that's worth. All of those things are available right there at RobertNCheek.com. And in a few weeks, you'll be able to sign up for a mailing list where I'll stay in touch with you and let you know about the bigger stuff I have coming along. We're kicking around some really big projects, maybe even the #1 movie in the country. We'll see. But you're going to know first if you go to RobertNCheek.com and sign up. And of course, I'm available on social media for free all the time. You get access to what's going on inside here, as terrifying as that may be. Go look for me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks. Maybe that's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat, everywhere at Robert N. Cheek. The only thing I don't have at this point is an OnlyFans, and don't push me because I might go and do it. But there's super funny content. There's insights into what's going on behind the scenes of my life. Not as much as you get at the Patreon, but hey, it's for free and it's right there on social media. So check it out at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks. And if you can't get enough of me because, why would you? Make sure that you're checking out the OD Anthem podcast. Every Tuesday, I sit down with my buddy Corey and we do a new podcast, brand new, every single week for 314 consecutive weeks at this point. We talk about news, we talk about politics, we talk about sports, the stories of the day. Anything is on the table. You never know what we're going to get into. We tell stories from the past. We just hit our 6-year anniversary. So there's a lot of content for you to check out when you're bored, and a new episode every single Tuesday. Go on over to odanthem.com. You can find the entire catalog of back episodes. You can follow us on social media at OD Anthem. That's available everywhere. And make sure you join us on Sundays or Mondays when we do our live recording. You can be part of the show. If you're following on social media or at youtube.com/OD Anthem, you'll be able to join in right there. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. If you're watching on YouTube, please do like and subscribe to the channel. If you subscribe to the channel, you get new updates, not just of these videos, but of all the stuff that I'm working on. I got a lot going on right now, and you're not going to want to miss a second of it. But of course, Everyman Movie Review is also available in podcast form. You can find that at anchor.fm/Everyman Movie Reviews. You'll be able to check out the new episodes right there at the same time as they're available on YouTube, with a few bonuses and extras only for the podcast listeners. I'll be back again in just a few days with yet another episode, so keep a lookout for that. But until then, please stay safe and stay inside. Take care of yourself and each other. Have a great week, everybody.